Hi everyone, this is a quick tutorial video on how to do the table of contents. Um, Someone had posted a really good question of, hey, there's nothing in our chapter reading this week, this or the simulation, and that is exactly right. So really fast, I want to take you back over to our week 4 folder for chapter 3, and then in the contents and all the way down into the supplemental folder, there is a how-to table of contents in Word movie. Again, that's in our weekly assignments tab, week 4, in the content folder, and then I have those supplemental videos. There is some information there. Then when you go to My IT Lab and then you bring up the table of contents, go ahead and download the instructions. And you can see that the instructions, really is not a lot there. I have just a couple of items, basically 5 steps before you even save. That's step number 6. And so let me move that over. And then the downloaded file that you're going to need. And if yours pops up this way, it's best if you leave it that way. We're going to be scrolling through and picking up headings and side headings and everything. So this is believe it or not, a 14-page document. We're going to change a few things about this and when we're reading the instructions. So let me bring the instructions over. It says to first change the design of this to lines simple. To do that, let me scroll up to the top. You are going to go into Design, and you're going to use your More button. And each one of these titles, if you hover, has a name. And we want lines, and in parentheses it will say basic or simple. So design and then lines, and you want simple. And that changes our entire document. Next, the instructions say to create the headings throughout the document. Those headings that are in bold are going to be heading 1. Those that are underlined are heading 2. Those that are bold and underlined are heading 3. And then it's got a special little note here. Heading 3 will not show up in the list until you have used heading 2. Well, that's not going to happen for us because we're actually going to take these in order. And I'm going to show you how to do that. You may recall in one of the chapters, I believe it was chapter 1 or chapter 2, we learned how to use our control key to select multiple items, and you're going to want to do that here. It'll make you go a little bit faster. So again, we want everything that's bold. You can't use your control key until after you have accepted the first bolded text. So now we're going to use the control and get the next one, and you see how these are turned on? You cannot use your page down. If you do, these will not be accepted. You're going to have to use your scroll bar or your scroll tool, excuse me, on your mouse. Don't forget to use your control again and click on those bolded headings. And now you're going to start seeing them on either side. And it's kind of a slow process, but we also want to make sure that we're looking at things correctly. Do not choose the ones that are bolded and underlined. You only want are bolded at this time. And there are quite a few of these. And then once you have all of those, you are going to want to scroll around using your roller ball on your mouse to make sure that you've gotten all of these. Be careful that you've done that. You'll miss a point. I believe this section is going to be worth about 15 points, and you can see that they're all highlighted. By the way, if you use the control button while you're using your mouse to roll, that is going to be zooming in and out, so be mindful of that. Now the instructions say those that are in bold will be heading 1. Going back to the Home tab in the Styles group, you're going to click your More button and you want heading 1. Next we're going to choose all of the underlined, and I'm going to use my Control Home to go up. We want everything that's underlined, and you're going to pick all those up. Again, you can't do the first one with your control on. If you do that, it selects all of your information underneath this heading. But now start using your Control key. And I'm going to use my scroll mouse bar up just for a second, make sure I didn't miss anything, and start scrolling down. These are just the ones that are not bolded, that are underlined. Don't forget, you've got 2 sides of the paper to do. And it's really not that hard. It's just tedious, busy work. But this is kind of a cool feature to learn, especially those that are either working in a place that you need to learn how to do a table of contents, or those that are going to go on to Boise State after you graduate from here and you have research papers to write, even if you don't and you've got a research paper to write. Learning how to do a table of contents is really important. All right, so now I'm going to scroll all the way up, making sure that I've got all of those selected, except for the ones that are bold and underlined. And it looks like I do. And now we're going to choose heading 2. Again, you need to be back in the Home tab in the ribbon. Open up your More box here, your drop down, and heading 2. The last one we're going to pick up is bold and underline, and I'm going to do Control Home to get to the top. And now we want to start selecting the bold and underlined. You noticed how I can turn my pointer into that arrow to pick things up instead of trying to highlight going all the way across like that. It works a whole lot faster if you can do that. Take some practice because you really have to watch your pointer. I'm old-fashioned. I still call it my little cursor, but it's your pointer. So making sure that you get the material. Once it turns to an arrow, you could just left click that. All right, I think we've got all of them. And now we want heading 3, and I'm just going to make sure one last time and choose heading 3. Now we're going to go to the Reference tab in the ribbon, and we are going to select Table of Contents Automatic 1. But before we do that, we want to Control Home up to the top. I am now going to set this to one large document and not in this format so that we can kind of see what's going on. So I'm going to click this, go back, and I'm going to put my pointer at the beginning of the D. I'm going to go over to Table of Contents and I'm going to choose Automatic Table 1. Make sure you're on page 2 and go ahead and click that. And now you can see that on page 2, even though they're not labeled pages, that we have table of contents, and it actually expands to page 3. That's that long. And you can see what page you're on down in the left-hand corner on your toolbar. You've got word count and you've got pages. All right, now in item number 4, it says format your pages. And let me bring this over so you can see it too. Format your pages so that the page breaks of the following headlines are at the following headlines. You may recall that a page break is Control and Enter. That's a hard page break. So instead of going up and doing your page breaks this way, we are wanting to save some time. So when you're thinking about your final, that final exam in Word, in fact, even the Excel one, all the Microsoft Office exams are all 50 minutes, and you get roughly, I don't know, 35 to 40 questions. Kind of depends on which test you get. and what move you're doing. But that roughly breaks down to a minute a question. So we always want to do things the fastest way. And Bill Gates gives us, what, 2 or 3 ways to skin a cat. I've been saying in all my movies, and you want to pick the shortest route to get you there. Picking up your mouse and moving him around is not the shortest route. All right, so let's do this. The first one, we're going to look for daily routine and of the high school day, and we are going to put a page break in. And that happens to be at the beginning of page 3. Again, that's Control Enter, and that gives us a page break. Isn't that faster than picking it up and going to insert with your mouse, picking up your mouse, excuse me, and then doing page break? That's why I love the shortcut keys. You just kind of have to start memorizing them. Next, we're looking for the word phone. I highlighted this in my notes because this is an actual typo. In the wording, you will notice that it says phones. Now, we have not talked about this. Let me pause for a second. This is called a orphan widow. That we have a heading and then like a heading 3 here, and then we've got our words for the paragraph, and it splits. You never want that. So we're going to take our heading and we are going to do a Control Enter for a hard break. Sorry about that. I forgot to turn my emails off. Let me just do that. And now you're going to look for bus rules, and that'll be easy to spot, and that'll be one of those orphans and widows again. So just keep scrolling all the way through, and you see that here. You want your heading and all your bullets to go together, so put your pointer in front of the B, Control Enter. The next one is Exceptional Child Program Placement. Again, just go ahead and scroll down. There it is. Control Enter. One more, and that will be our glossary of selected educational abbreviations. Put it right in front of the G, your pointer. And now we've got one more instruction, and that is be sure to update your table when you're finished. The cool thing about giving your sections headings and subheadings, if you will, so we've got heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. These are all linked to the table of contents, but you need to click in here and you'll see what I'm talking about. It says update. Yes, because now that we've moved everything with those hard page breaks, we need to update. So update table. Do you want to update page numbers only? No, we want to update the entire table. So it takes everything, whatever we did. Go ahead and click OK. And then, not sure if you noticed, I probably should have pointed these out, but these actually just all did a change all the way down. So just to double check on one, daily routines, do you remember that was on the 3rd page along with the second half? We did a hard page break. Look, this is page 4. So how do I know this is page 4? Because down in the right hand corner we have page 4 of 15. All right, that is it. One thing that I didn't do was save first, so let's do that really fast. I'm going to go into Documents. I have created a folder. We're in Chapter 3 now, and I'm going to take the 1 out because I've already done this once. I did not put my name in front of this. I'm not going to do that. I am going to go ahead and exit out of this. Close, and let's choose the file, and it's Student Handbook, and open, and upload 100%, submit for grading. And let's close this out. If you have any questions, please get a hold of me this week in the Ask My Instructor tab.